Hi, Jeremy here, Modern Vitality. In today's video, we're going to go over the top 3 mistakes to avoid with fibromyalgia, because it's hard enough trying to heal your body from a complex multisystematic illness with all this chronic inflammation, let alone falling into these 3 pitfalls. So I'm going to share with you some of the things that I think will help you speed up your healing journey, and let's get started. Whether you have an official fibromyalgia diagnosis or not, it doesn't really matter. You're going to be looking at your body and going, wow, I feel fatigue, I feel exhaustion, I feel brain fog. Sometimes I'm kind of not knowing what I came in the room for. I'm having trouble focusing. I'm feeling like I've got these wandering pains that are moving all over the place, good days and bad days, flare-ups. There could be sleep trouble. There could be libido changes. There could be digestive issues, anxiety, depression. There's a lot, you name it, okay? It's a ton of stuff to try to manage. Some practitioners can be helpful. Sometimes it comes down to the patient to have to learn how to do things themselves and have to really understand their own condition from the inside out. So this video is to help you with that. And if you're on your healing journey, I want to help you get your next piece of the puzzle with fibromyalgia. And that means understanding these 3 mistakes to avoid. So the number 1 mistake with fibromyalgia is pushing through it. Okay. And I know this one's going to be maybe not easy to hear. And don't worry, this is advice for right now, okay? Of course, I'm not your doctor. I'm not giving you medical advice. I'm not telling you what to do. We're all adults here. But I will offer this perspective is that for right now, for the short term, you need to listen to your body because symptoms are a sign. Symptoms are communication. So if you're feeling exhausted, then that would be a good sign not to try to push your body further. There's a lot of deep biochemistry and biology that determines where that feeling of fatigue comes from. I'm not going to unpack all that in this video. Needless to say, the summary is to respect what your body is trying to tell you via symptoms. So if you're feeling exhausted, don't try to push through, okay? Same goes for exercise. This is a really charged topic because a lot of people with fibromyalgia also have a harder time controlling their weight, and they get sometimes a little bit of guilt, or they feel ashamed and they think, well, I'm not exercising. I feel like I'm not in control of my weight. I don't feel good. And I think maybe other people are looking at me and thinking, well, if you just exercise, you'd feel better, right? You're being lazy or something. You know, this is kind of some of the negative self-talk that can come up, whether it's true or not, right? We still have to respect that people get this, you know, the negative self-talk. They feel down on themselves. Totally understandable. But what happens then is they think, okay, I'm going to push through. I'm just going to do the exercise like I used to. I used to run. I used to bike. I used to hike before I had this, right? I'll go back to that and just push through it. And what happens? Right? We push through the exercise. It's miserable. It's very difficult. And it takes a lot to get through it. And then for the next 3 days, 5 days, a week, total flare, right? They call it post-exertional malaise. It's basically your immune system blowback from exercising above your threshold. All these things, unfortunately, have to be scaled back. So with fibromyalgia, the first big mistake is overdoing it. And overdoing it might be different on a day-to-day basis. But you will know because you got to listen to your intuition and go, geez, this is a little too much for me today, right? And respect that, because otherwise you're making a mistake and you'll create an energy debt that you'll have to repay in the form of a flare-up, okay? It's not fair, it's not nice, it's not fun, but that's the reality of the situation at a certain point in the healing. As you go through a process where you're systematically going through things, where I'll explain some of this, I think in number 3, we'll get into that, that starts to change. And you have to start to respect your new energy level, because that's a whole different set of problems as when somebody's used to being tired and fatigued and thinking, I only have so many spoons for the day, right? The spoon model of trying to allocate your energy for the day for certain tasks. And all of a sudden, you have to now update your own sense of self because your body is healing and getting better and you actually have the capacity to do more stuff. Sometimes that can be a little bit of a shock for the identity too. That's a good problem. That's a success problem. But in the beginning, right? If you're feeling kind of low and you're dealing with fibromyalgia, do not make the mistake of overdoing it and pushing through. And that includes not just exercise, but also work, obligations, social commitments, right? All these things that we want to say yes to. Yes, I'll be there. Yes, I'll do it. Yes, I'll bring the cake. Yes, I'm going to, make this thing. All these things, right? They all take some energetic toll. So try. I know it's hard. I know it's heartbreaking to not be able to do the things you want to do. Believe me. Most people that come into my world, they've had to start saying no to all kinds of stuff. I get it. It's a low point, right? The good news is we have a strategy to get you out of that. It's not necessarily fast or easy, but it can be done and it's organized. But in the meantime, if you have to limit your energetic expenditures, Give yourself permission to do that. And just know that with the right plan, that's temporary. That's not just the new you. Okay. That's really important. So that's number one. Don't overdo it. Number two, silver bullets. Grasping for silver bullets and shiny objects. And that is very common, very tempting, and it's difficult to navigate the world now because we have so much media and we've got people all over social media and magazines and your neighbor, and everybody's got this like one miracle supplement or whatever that they did. We call them silver bullets in our world here. They're touting these silver bullets. Oh yeah, it's just your need omega-3s, or oh, ginseng will do it. That'll cure it. It's an adaptogen, right? Any one thing. Oh, it's lymphatic drainage massage. That did it. Or I took these antivirals or low dose naltrexone or whatever. And sometimes, every now and then, those things actually work, right? This reductionist strategy, sometimes a silver bullet, it hits the target, right? What happens though, unfortunately, for most people is that you're dealing with a complex situation. There's more than one triggering factor. There's more than one body system that's affected, and it's going to take more than one intervention and structured, which we'll get to make a serious difference. Your body's a complex system, okay? It's not just like taking a car, oh, my engine doesn't work. Oh, well, you need a new alternator. Okay, well, let's just take that one piece out, plug in the new one, and it's fixed like a miracle, right? Our bodies, we're not car engines. We don't work like that. We can't just replace, I can't just say, oh, my immune system, I need to replace my immune system. No, you have to train your immune system. You have to develop it, and you have to use multiple interventions in the right order to do that. Okay, so what happens with the silver bullets, why this is a mistake, is because every time we try something and it doesn't work out, we get let down. So we have a certain amount of morale and mojo and hope, and then we go, oh yeah, I just saw an ad for this new probiotic. I think that'll do it. Must be the root of my problem is in my gut, right? And then it works kind of, and maybe after a month, you're back to where you started, and the morale goes down. Ugh, I tried that, didn't work. How come it worked for them and not for me? Okay? You do this over and over again with all different things, grasping at silver bullet after silver bullet after silver bullet, and eventually you start to wear down your morale. And then people think, I'm about at rock bottom. I've tried everything. I feel like giving up. I get a fair amount of people in that situation coming into my world, and we have an entirely different approach because the silver bullet thing, for one, there's like 10,000 different silver bullets. So you can't possibly do them all. And for two, it's not your fault if the thing that worked for your neighbor's cousin's fibromyalgia or whatever doesn't work for you because you're not the same person. Silver bullets aren't personalized. All right. I know I'm saying like the harsh things here, but sometimes it's the most kind thing to do is to be very clear about this stuff. Just copying what somebody in a forum, a health forum says, oh yeah, I started taking this omega-3 and that seemed to fix my fibromyalgia, or vitamin D, or whatever it is. I'm taking some binders. Great, they got lucky, okay? But if you try that without a plan, without a place to fit that into a framework, and it doesn't work for you, then the morale starts to go down and go down and go down and go down. Most people can't handle trying and failing so many times before they start to get seriously depressed. So I'd like to prevent that problem from you. If you start to look at things and you think, oh, this looks like a silver bullet, okay, start to recognize that and think about how you can fit that into the context of a healing plan or a strategy instead of fixating on one silver bullet. Okay, I don't want you to get let down. It's not good for morale. So we did number one, right? Don't push through. That's a big mistake people make, overdoing it. Number two is relying on silver bullets and grasping at those. And number three, right, is not having a plan. Not having a plan. Now, if you don't have a plan, it's not your fault. Most patients don't have a plan. That's why it's still a problem. Most practitioners don't have a plan. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. I was the worst at this in the past. When I was a new practitioner, I would just try to match silver bullet. I was doing Eastern medicines where my training is. I've got a strong background there. So I was trying to match silver bullet herb formulas and try to fit the exact herb formula to this exact person, right? But what I realized over time is that humans change through time. Even if we find the perfect fit, right, for you today, if it works, you're going to be a little bit better the next day, a little bit different of a person. So we need to have a strategy that evolves with you, not just one time try to match it and make it perfect. This is the equivalent of cutting out one scene from a movie, one slide, one clip of film, and looking at that still image and thinking you understand the whole movie. It's impossible. We can't take you today, and that's everything, your whole healing journey, right? And you wouldn't want it to be that way because then we'd have to give like a whole pile of stuff, a bunch of herbs, supplements, all these things. You'd have this mountain, right? This kind of supplement graveyard in your kitchen drawer that was just, well-intentioned, right? But just didn't have the forethought and foresight of understanding the process. So you need to understand a process. You need to have a plan. What I mean by a plan, the way we do it in Modern Vitality, 4 stages, right? Immune system, digestive system, neuroadrenal, and then blood circulation. There's an order. This is one of the things that once I started to learn this and really embellish it and bring it to life, I started to understand that there is an order to the body. There's an order of operations. And most people are looking for silver bullets, like I said in number 2. They're looking for a key, the perfect key that opens the lock. And the reality is our bodies don't work with a key, they work with a combination. We have to give the right inputs and in the right order, and then it starts to open up. And then we get the really cool stories, the really cool case studies, where we take somebody with fibromyalgia who was bedridden and miserable and semi-suicidal and who now feels like a brand new person and is telling everybody how good they feel. Somebody who can get back to traveling, go back to restaurants, right? And eating without being afraid of what's going to tear up their stomach. Somebody with fibromyalgia who now can walk 2 big dogs and has the strength to do that without getting yanked around. Like, these are real stories. I get to see this stuff. It's very, very encouraging, and it lifts me up. But the only way we get there is by having a strategic plan, because the nature of these conditions is so multifaceted. That's why these are head scratcher conditions, right? For the patients and the practitioners. To level with you here, like, most practitioners too are just very frustrated because, and I felt that too, I still get difficult cases where I'm like, I really have to dig in and learn and study. It's great to always be learning. But a lot of practitioners are very frustrated because it's the whack-a-mole thing, where as soon as they start to get one thing better for a patient, something else sticks up and something else sticks up. If you've ever played this game, then you know what I'm talking about. It's not fun. The symptoms are just bouncing all over the place. Instead, when you have a plan, a real plan, and you're not just doing shots in the dark, silver bullets, you can start to put the steady positive pressure on the body in different ways. And as you start to brace the immune system, digestive system, neuroadrenal, blood circulation, you start to get results where the whole system is responding. This is the way to do it. It's fantastic. So we have these multifaceted problems. We have to come at them with multifaceted plans, but that doesn't mean we have to have complicated plans either. If we have the right order, we can actually have quite simple interventions that they're just timed right. They're just planned right. And it has to be adaptive and responsive for the individual. And when there's flares and setbacks, we know how to handle that. So I would encourage you to have a plan. And the plan should lead towards medical independence, not further dependence. Meaning, if you go on a new herb, a new supplement, a new prescription medicine, whatever it is, a new diet, right? Those interventions, how does that look through time, long term? Is that going to make your life easier long term? Are those interventions going to only stack up more, right? Or do these interventions have an exit strategy, a way out, a way off of them? So that's the question to ask. Okay, I'm going to go on this new medicine. Well, what's the exit strategy? Am I going to be dependent on it for the rest of my life? Is the dosage going to be ever increasing? I'm going on this new diet. Am I going to have to stick with it for life? Are the food restrictions going to be ever increasing, meaning I can eat less and less variety of things? I'm going to take these supplements. I'm going to take these enzymes. I'm going to take these probiotics. Over time, do I have to take more of them? Do I have to keep taking them? Or do they create resilience in my body where over time I need less interventions? That's medical independence. That's what you can do with a plan. So those are my top 3 mistakes to avoid with fibromyalgia. If you are struggling with a complex chronic health condition like fibromyalgia or Lyme disease or mold exposure or reactivated Epstein-Barr or Candida or long haulers, any of them, there's a ton of them, right? If you're struggling with that, you do not have to do it alone. We have a group, a very positive group. It's off of big tech. We've got a private chat group. I'm in there every day, and there's lots of people that are lovely, very positive, very friendly, sophisticated, bright human beings that are all at various stages of their healing. They would love to meet you. You'd probably be a great fit. We're in there. You can ask me any questions you want. I'm treating cases. I'm giving people advice. I'm troubleshooting when things get bad. You can be right over my shoulder watching how all this goes. You can learn a lot that way. It's a very friendly and open place. Even if you're introverted and kind of shy, I think you'd fit in just fine there. There's not a lot of social pressure to come in and be bombastic, right? You also there's a vault of videos I've got where they're interactive and it'll take you through so that you can figure out your current situation. You can figure out your practical next steps so that you can have a plan so that you can start to put your life back together. This is something that I love watching happen for people. And we're international, so I've got people all over the world in there. It's a small group. I keep it cozy, around 100 or 200 people. That way I can keep track of who's who and give personalized advice and suggestions. It's free to join. There's a link in the description. Though I'll tell you, there can be a bit of a wait because we do fill up. We're at a cozy level, so it does fill up. If I see your application and it looks like you'd be a great fit, I'll do my best to get you in our next monthly cohort, but it might be a couple months before we can get you there. I try to be quick. I do my best with that. In the meantime, you might consider subscribing to this channel, right? Instead of binge watching Netflix and scrolling around social media for quick dopamine fixes, you might actually subscribe so that you can train the algorithm to show you more videos, right? More things that help your health, like this video, so you can start to rebuild your life and get your health back. All right, let's get you feeling better. Cheers.